Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first ever premiere on the channel as we are, I guess, in a sense, live on KRC. I am not going to be able to speak with you guys in the chat today because we are premiering this. This is not live. This is our first ever recorded full race live stream. I'm not sure if I'm going to have any of this cut out or not right now. I know for the Cup race, I already recorded for next week for when I'm gone at Bristol. We're going to end up having a little bit of that trimmed out because it's a 500-mile race, and just because it helps you guys, I guess, with not having the live commentary all the way throughout because I don't get to talk with you guys in the chat. There's only so much to talk about when you don't have a color commentator to try to feed off of throughout the race events and the race stories as the race progresses. But we are live for the Mr. Good Sense 300 at the Kansas Speedway. Just 7 races to go on this NASCAR Busch Series season. The reason why we are doing a premiere today is because I will be doing a live commentary for the Cup race later on tonight. With it being a Saturday, I also have to work, so I won't get home from work until about 5:15, 5:30ish. We'd have no time to get a full race live stream in. I'd have less than 2 hours, an hour and a half to 2 hours at the very most to get that race in. It's just not enough time for me to be able to do that. So this is the race we were going to do anyway. So enjoy, everybody. Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Without further ado, let's hop on into this race. 200 laps, 300 miles at the Kansas Speedway, another mile and a half on the schedule. Kevin Harvick on the pole once again as well, and the green flag is in the air. We're underway. And the 123 car, who starts on the outside, is going to get to the lead in turn 1, and Kyle Busch, looking for redemption, is going to get to second. He goes down to the bottom for the lead. From fourth, looking for first for Kyle Busch on the opening lap. Harvick made a little contact with Dwayne Borland, which held him up enough to where Kyle Busch is going to hold on in front. Harvick will get to second. How about Kyle Busch from fourth to first on the opening lap of the race? And he is going to lead it at Kansas. Can Harvick get around him now? Off the exit of turn 2, looking low. Kyle Busch door checks Harvick. That might not have been enough. Harvick is way down on the bottom, as Kyle Busch really forced him down there aggressively to hold on to the race lead. Harvick was going to flatline it into 3, which he did, so he had to lift and let Busch go if they were going to make that corner. Again, Harvick on the inside of Busch. Busch trying to side draft him this time. Harvick sends it into turn 3. Both cars enter in very flat and deep. Harvick gets to the lead briefly, but it's going to be Busch with the crossover off the exit of turn 4. And Busch will lead lap 3. Harvick still on the outside trying to hang on into turn 1. Kyle dropped back to third in the point standings after blowing an engine in the race that you guys saw yesterday live on the channel at Dover. No mistake getting into 3, but Harvick's still there on the outside off of turn 4, and they've been side by side for about a lap now. Harvick going to lead his first lap of the race at the line. That's 5 bonus points, which is big when you are the points leader with just 7 races to go. Big slide getting into turn 1 that time for Harvick. And that should allow Kyle Busch to clear off of turn 2, and it does. As he slides up the track, maybe a little too far. Harvick's going to beat him to the inside now into turn 3. Harvick's going to clear him again. This time, no crossover by Busch. And Kevin Harvick will now lead 2 consecutive laps. He'll try to take a shortcut down to the apron through the tri-oval. We had 4 cautions in last night's race at Dover. Though I'm recording this right after running that Dover live stream. So but for your guys' sake, last night. Boy, these top 2, even with racing aggressively, have really pulled away from the rest of the field early on. We have not raced at Kansas on the Busch Series season so far this year, so this is going to be kind of new as far as what the pit window is going to look like. We kind of estimated it was going to be a fuel mileage race at Dover last night, which it was until we had a late caution with about 47 laps to go. Allowed for everybody who might have been short to pit, which they did under that last yellow, and they were able to make it on fuel to the end, so there were no issues there. Harvick had about a 3-second victory over Bobby Hamilton Jr., who went on to finish second. Max points day as well for Harvick, leading 177 of the 200 laps from the pole position at the start of the race. It looked like there might have been trouble off turn 4 the last lap. Further back in the pack, we do stay green though. There's an indicator of that just because of the smoke that was still laying there from the lap before. Harvick slides way up the track in 1 and 2. Kyle Busch closes the gap now. Another slide like that, and Busch should be able to get underneath Harvick, and he might get under him anyway into 3. Not quite. Harvick shuts the door. He hits his marks. And Busch gets really tight off the exit of 4, and Busch got into the wall off turn 4. May have pushed the car a little too hard trying to get back around Kevin Harvick. He's getting desperate. Every lap he sees Harvick lead this season, he knows his chances are getting slimmer and slimmer for winning this championship. Especially after that DNF and now losing a spot in the points. He's got to try to get Hamilton next before he can worry about Harvick. It's kind of hard when you're in second place trying to run down the leader, and that guy you're running down is the points leader, Kevin Harvick. Kyle Busch surprisingly only has 1 win this season as well. I was looking back at the race stats. I would have thought he had more this year with how consistent he has been. Seems like every time he has been in contention to win, except for the 1 win he had early in the season, Kevin Harvick seems to be the guy that beats him more often than not. Harvick down to the apron through the tri-oval, but he drifted all the way through there. And look at Kyle Busch getting to the lead on the outside after Harvick made that mistake. Harvick did a great job keeping it off the 5. Made a very narrow move on the outside in the tri-oval to make that pass, but he made it work after all. Harvick underneath Busch now. Side drafted him in the center of the corner, really pulled him back. Harvick is clear off of 4. Busch trying to cross over, but he couldn't do it. Harvick really slammed the door shut on him. Harvick down low. Busch going to try the high side now through 1 and 2. Maybe get a run of his own down the back straightaway. I don't think that's going to quite happen the way he would have hoped. They're going to go try to take that shortcut again. He's either been perfect through there or he slid the tires. He was perfect through there just like he was the first time. He didn't slid the tires like he did the second time. Onto the apron into the tri-oval. Makes for maybe a little bit of an awkward corner entry into turn 1, but he still holds on to the lead that end of the racetrack. Kyle Busch had a great corner himself, trying to gain some time on Harvick. Busch is all over Harvick off of turn 4. He just can't quite get underneath him. Definitely looking like the 2 fastest cars in the field by far here today, at least in the early going and on the short run. Just went a little too wide off the exit of turn 2 that time, in comparison to Kevin Harvick at least. Busch definitely seems like he's running a lot wider than Harvick the last lap and a half to 2 laps. Gonna try to go wider into turns 3 and 4 as well. Harvick just gonna stay consistent with running the bottom and is basically kind of showing Busch right there that, hey, I will give you the top. As Harvick takes a shortcut down to the apron through the tri-oval again. He only really slid bad through there once, and it gave Kyle Busch the lead. Every other time he's gone through there, it seems like he does gap Busch, at least through the tri-oval, but then Busch kind of gets him back a little bit into turns 1 and 2. But he's not been able to make a pass on Kyle Busch, or on Harvick rather. And Harvick has gone down there so far. The 3 times he didn't get loose at least. Whether it was in the heat of the moment or half a lap to a lap later, it doesn't matter. He wasn't able to do it either one of those 3 times. I had to assume this is likely going to be a 2 pit stop race today, but no guarantees yet. Maybe a 3 stopper. Harvick is all over on Busch through the tri-oval, blocking low, blocking high. Trying to, at least down the straightaways, is trying to mimic the line that Kyle Busch is running in the corner, though. He just dives back down to the bottom, whether Busch goes down to the bottom or Busch goes to the top. Harvick may have overdrove the corner a little bit. Kyle ran the high side. We'll see how much of a run he'll get through the tri-oval. Actually, surprisingly, didn't have as much of a run as he did the lap before. Kind of surprised about that, honestly. No other challengers have caught up to these two in the first 25 laps either. So they gradually continue to pull away. They haven't raced as hard back and forth, at least, since really the first 10 laps of the race. It does seem like Kyle Busch, if there's a corner he's more consistently better or at least equal with Harvick, it seems to be turns 1 and 2. And right off that exit of turn 4, getting through the tri-ovals where Harvick seems to be at his best. Almost starting to slip backwards. Slowly. Kyle might have used up a little bit too much of his tires early in the race trying to lead those laps, which he was able to get laps led, so I guess job well done in that aspect, getting 5 bonus points quickly. Just never know what could happen to the end of the race. He's had 2 blown engines in the last 5 races. Obviously, the most recent was yesterday at Dover. 5 Busch kind of fell back to about 3 to 4 tenths of a second off the lead. He's closed back to within 2 tenths of a second over the last couple laps again. So we're now on lap 30. And he's right there. If Harvick were to make a mistake, he'd be right on him. And Kevin Harvick just hit halfway on fuel at lap 30. So it is actually going to look more like a 3 pit stop race today. I doubt anybody's going to be able to make it on 2 pit stops. Probably looking, if you were to even run it even, 60, 120, 180 in this 200 lap race. A lot different compared to Dover, where it was a 1 scheduled stop race with all those cautions thrown in. I guess cautions could be a difference maker in this one as well. So far, we're caution free through the first 31 laps at least. Again, we've had 4 caution free races this year. Most of them, though, were at the beginning of the season. 3 of them in the first half of the year. Busch gains quite a bit off the exit of turn 4 that time. Trying to get a run on Kevin Harvick. Looking to the outside into turn 1. Harvick continues to go down low. Busch lost a little bit of ground and try to gain it down the straightaway with the run off the banking. First race at Kansas in the NASCAR Cup Series was in 2000. Actually, it might have been 2001. It was either 2000 or 2001. Now I'm starting to second guess myself, but I know Jeff Gordon won the race. Whatever year it was, either 2000 or 2001. I know this is a Busch Series race, but goes to show that with this being the 2004 season, not too many races on this Kansas Speedway racetrack, so it's primarily a one-groove track around the bottom, though we've seen these top 2 try to run the top at times, like when Busch was underneath Harvick. Harvick was trying to hold it up there and had a decent amount of success, at least for a couple laps, before Busch ultimately did end up clearing him on the inside. I was just trying to build up a run. Harvick going to go high again through 1 and 2. Line's not really working for him. Car on the inside of the racetrack down the backstretch who has blown an engine. Couldn't tell who it was. It was one of the fantasy drivers, though. It wasn't one of the top 4 in points, one of the contenders for the championship. Kyle Busch a little bit lower than Harvick that time through turns 1 and 2. Has a run into turn 3. Harvick going to pull the block into the corner. Slides up a little bit, but not enough for Kyle Busch to get underneath. He didn't slide a full car length up. Busch is still all over him, though, through the tri-oval. Now lap 40. Kyle's still only been held to about 5 or 6 laps led. Harvick has led the other laps. We're going to alternate through the different camera angles for the first time in the race today when we get back to the start-finish line this time. Lap 42. That might be the move. And Busch needed. He is underneath Harvick through turns 3 and 4. And they are side by side for the lead, trying to side draft each other through the tri-oval. Still door to door. Harvick tries to pinch him off into turn 1. Busch does not pull clear, but he gets into the side of the 21 of Harvick. Kind of knocked him out of the way and knocked him up into the wall. And that move is going to give Kyle Busch the lead, like it or not. Harvick held on to the outside wall for about a full lap again until Busch put him into the wall off turn 2. Harvick's just kind of stuck behind him. The third different time Kyle Busch has led in the first 50 laps of the race. Big run for Harvick, and he nudges him back. Really fast track to be trading paint like that. But he got Kyle Busch back with, I guess, a bump and a run on a mile and a half. You don't see that every day. Just got into the left rear Busch. Busch went up the hill. Harvick gets back to the lead. He had a good camera angle of it, too, when it happened. Front tires in the yellow. It took about 46 laps for it to get to that point. Just goes to show that this track, again, only has a couple years of wear on it. Which really isn't a lot. Track is definitely fast and it's got most of its grip. You're seeing even these Busch Series cars get up over 180 miles an hour getting into the first turn. The mid corner speeds are so high because of all the grip that they're not really going below 160 at all in these corners. Obviously lower horsepower than the Cup cars. 2 can allow them to do that, but the tires to hold up along with it, that's really saying something about the grip level. Lap traffic at all for the leaders right now. I don't believe they're going to get to any lap traffic until we see green flag pit stops, which have to likely be starting soon. We know Harvick's going to have to pit at about lap 60. I did qualify, but I did not practice for the race. So I'm not sure exactly how this is going to work. Lap 50 now, so a quarter of the way home. Still, though, I've not hit the first of 3 pit stops. Nobody has. Got one driver in the pits, but I believe he's out of the race. It was that car that we saw blow an engine about 20 to 30 laps ago. It was up in smoke down the back straightaway. I was trying to get a run on the high side into 1 and 2. Both cars kind of going up the track a little bit as their tires are definitely finally starting to wear very late into this opening tire stint. Still a 2-car breakaway as well. Still caution free to lap 52. Harvick with a block down the back straightaway low, and then he gets a little loose into turn 3, but then Busch kind of shoved up the track in the center of the corner, and he's still going up the track. So he couldn't capitalize. He did a good job keeping it off the wall, though, to not lose too much time there. He'll try to gain it back in turns 1 and 2, it looks like. Harvick entered in a lot deeper on the bottom. I don't think any time was gained or lost for Busch that time. Pretty even. By the way, that last lap was the fastest that Harvick has ran this entire race, a 31.329. Late on the dive into 3. The bottom is open for Kyle Busch, maybe. Harvick shuts the door in the tri-oval. A little loose doing so, but he stays in the gas and he stays in front of Busch. 2/10, almost 3/10 slower that last lap compared to the fastest lap he put down the lap before. Very late in this run to do that. Though we didn't really pull away from Busch, so you'd have to assume Kyle Busch probably had one of his faster laps of the race, the same lap Harvick had his very fastest. And we're seeing green flag pit stop start this time by, coming to lap 56 at the line. Harvick is definitely committed to taking this run as far as he possibly can. Kyle Busch might be coming into the pits this time. And yes, he is. So Kyle Busch will pit at lap 56. That's the least amount of pressure that Harvick's had to face for a 2-lap stretch this entire race so far. Not really the only thing he's contemplating is where exactly on the racetrack does he want to start slowing down so he can make it to pit road. And the pit road speed limit for every track in this game is 70 miles an hour. Harvick going to stay out one more lap. It'll pit at lap 59. Not quite going to stretch it to lap 60 this time. And Kyle Busch should take the lead because he pitted 3 laps before Kevin Harvick. So again, Harvick will pit this time. Into turns 3 and 4. Well, he's got to lock the tires up a little bit off turn 4 to make sure he doesn't miss the pits. Slowed it down so much he could actually gas them back up a little bit. No adjustments, 4 fresh tires and a full tank of fuel for Kevin Harvick. First pit stop of the day for him under green. Casey Atwood going to stay out on the racetrack and try to get a lap led and get some bonus points for himself. I believe he's in the top 10 in points. 14.8-second pit stop for Kevin Harvick. Not too shabby. Tough to tell exactly where Kyle Busch might be, wherever he is. There he is. Never mind. So as we expected, Kyle Busch will cycle to the lead. The eventual lead. J.J. Yaley still on the racetrack, though, right now. Harvick and Busch are on the lead lap, so Casey Atwood stayed out. He got a lap led. And J.J. Yaley staying out to get a lap led. So he pits this time, lap 61 for him. And nobody's going to be able to take his 65 laps, which is what they would need to go on pace to be able to make it on 2 stops today. Actually, they'd have to go more like 67 and a half laps, so about 67 to 68 laps if they're going to make it. So it will be a 3-stop race for everybody at some juncture. And Yaley was the last driver to hit pit road as well. Harvick trying to run down Kyle Busch, who has the race lead. Oh, man, somebody got in the wall off turn 2. Maybe a couple cars. There's some smoke where we do stay green. Didn't actually see the contact. We just saw the smoke. As if somebody did get up into the wall. Not going to be an official lead change until we get to the line right here. And Busch will lead the lap. But boy, Harvick is underneath him quickly in the tri-oval. Busch had no chance to even block it. Harvick sends it now into turn number 1 and clears Kyle Busch. Drove it in really, really deep to take that lead away. And boy, he ran down Kyle Busch pretty quickly. And no adjustments were made on this 21 car. Mentioned that Kyle Busch was going to be able to lead some extra laps because of that. He only led one extra lap by short pitting on Harvick. That was All I was able to get him. That was a really fast pit stop, though, by Harvick's pit crew. 14.8 second stop. That's solid. That's really solid. Like, what, NASCAR heat fast stops and championship modes, like, a 15, 15 and a half. So 14.8, that's a solid pit stop. Especially with these pit crews back then. I feel like the pit stops are a lot quicker now than what they used to be on average. So that was a really good stop. Even after the cycle and the pit stops as well, it's Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch who are still 1-2. In that same order as well, when they came down into the pits, currently at least, with Harvick in the lead and Busch in second. Remember, in NASCAR Heat 5, it seems like Kyle Busch is the king at Kansas. He won our spring race at Kansas. Now Kansas has 2 dates. I guess we only had one on our final season of the career mode, but still, he won at Kansas twice on the career mode, once in each season in the Cup Series. He's in the Busch Series in this game. He's not yet a rookie until the following season in the Cup Series. So as we're kind of looking at it here, seeing Kyle Busch run second, the Kansas King, I guess you would say, right there, surely within striking distance. Another car on the inside of the racetrack up in smoke. Ron Hornaday, for the second race in a row, has blown an engine. That might be the final dagger in his championship hopes. He came in fourth in points. He was closing in on Kyle Busch just a few races ago, and now 2 straight DNFs because of blown engines. Late in the season, both in the final 8 races, putting him back to fourth in points, and now he should probably still be fourth, considering he's quite a ways ahead of fifth. But that late season surge we saw with that win at California for Ron Hornaday, and a couple of top threes after that. Unfortunately, though, he ran into 2 engine failures and no laps led in either race. He finished dead last in yesterday's race. I believe there were 2 drivers that blew an engine before him today, 1 or 2. So he's going to finish either 41st or 42nd. What a tough break for Hornaday. And Harvick is slowly getting away from Kyle Busch. About a 4/10 of a second lead. Now there's a lap car between the top 2 as well as Harvick clears his first lap car off the exit of turn 2. He got around the lap car, but now he's a half a second off the race lead, and this is not as much as we've been able to see Kevin Harvick pull away early on. Now Wiggins running a pretty wide line, indicating that Harvick has the right of way and the clear path on the inside to get around him and put him a lap down. Being very generous in the first half of this race still. Just over half a second lead still. 75 laps complete. Out of 200. And the Mr. Good Sense 300 at Kansas. Jimmy Hill's the next lap car ahead of Kevin Harvick. We'll say so far, at least through the first few lap cars, they've been pretty well spaced out. Jimmy Hill looks like he'll give plenty of room to Kevin Harvick on the inside. He drives it deep into turn one anyway, and he'll easily clear Jimmy Hill. He rode out one of the cautions in a hard wreck at Dover in the last race. Didn't get a good finish either. Damage likely weighed him down the rest of the race, I'd have to assume. So looking ahead at the schedule going into the next few races, the next race will be at the Lowe's Motor Speedway, now known as Charlotte Motor Speedway. The race after that will be back at Old Spice Speedway for the second time this season. So it'll be our second trip to Lowe's Motor Speedway and our second trip to Old Spice Speedway for that road course race. Not sure if it's going to be as long as the first one, or maybe it'll be longer. Who knows? Hopefully it's not longer. That was almost 3 hours for a Busch race, and we only had like, what, 3 cautions, so it wasn't like it slowed the pace down. It was 200 laps on a road course. Ridiculous. Mistake for Harvick before getting into turn 3 that time. So we are now at lap 80. Still pulling away out to an 8/10 of a second lead now on Kyle Busch. Maybe Kyle made an adjustment while he was on pit road, and maybe his crew went the wrong way with the adjustment. Could be causing the lack of speed. Well, we're going to take a break while Harvick is slowly pulling away. We'll be back well before the second pit stops of the race. Watching the Mr. Good Sense 300 at the Kansas Speedway, the NASCAR Busch National Series on NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005 live on KRC. Picking things up now, right back in the Mr. Good Sense 300 at the Kansas Speedway. We are at the halfway mark, exactly 100 laps to go as we have 100 laps complete. Now to the start-finish line, just past halfway. 99 laps remain. Still 2 more pit stops in this race. We are still caution-free. And as you see on the upper right-hand corner of the screen, just below the track map, how much that lead has really been gapped. Since the last time that we had seen it, it was about an 8/10 of a second lead for Harvick over Kyle Busch when we stepped away for 20 laps. Well, 20 laps later, he's out to about a 3.6 second lead over Busch. Harvick is just mowing through this lap traffic while Kyle Busch is getting left in the dust right now. But again, anything could happen with a caution in the second half of this race, or with the 2 pit stops coming up. Maybe a pit road speeding penalty. Maybe some varying pit strategies could bring Kyle Busch into this. Or maybe just a setup change, perhaps. Trying to make changes to the race car under these final 2 stops to try to help it get faster, because it just doesn't seem to be quite as fast as what it was that first run of the race when he was within a half a second of Harvick the entire run. So now he's 3.8 seconds back and he's still losing ground. Harvick only pit 3 laps after him, so that didn't really make a difference. Those would have evened out those first 3 laps, especially for the most part how fresh this racetrack is as far as the pavement itself goes. Only 3 or 4 years races, and at this time, again at Kansas, they only had 1 race a year as well instead of 2 like they do now. We'll be seeing pit stops in the next 10 to 15 laps. It'll be the second pit stops of the race today. It is a 3-stop race from the start. Kind of starting to wonder and hope I have enough recording time, knowing that my recording for the Texas Cup race a couple days ago compared to when I'm running this one. Actually, that was yesterday. Yeah, as of yesterday, I had about 2 hours and 40 minutes, 2 hours 45 minutes of recording time. This one's going to be about another hour and a half to an hour 45 minutes, so I'm hoping. This one will be uploaded tomorrow, so I can delete it as soon as it uploads, but it should give me enough space to record the Lowesmetter Speedway Busch race, so that way I can air that while in Bristol next week as well. Air that Cup race, hopefully that Thursday, and then maybe the Friday for the Cup race we'll air our Busch Series race at Charlotte. With all the laps led for Kevin Harvick today, he just clinched the most laps led at the start-finish line that time. That was definitely huge for him. Even if Kyle Busch short pits just a little bit, I don't think he's going to be able to cut completely into that nearly 4.5 second deficit. Also, the pit road speeding penalty by Harvick. And they had to lock the tires up a little bit to make sure you get to pit road. And that wasn't for speeding, though. That was mainly braked a little bit later than what he wanted to off of turn 4. I don't want to say nearly missed pit road because he still made it. It wasn't with 100% ease, though. So he actually locked him up twice. Once initially coming off the bank, and then once again as he was getting closer to that commitment line. Trying to make sure he had all 4 tires in. Tell you what, I have been putting in the effort between yesterday on the channel and today with just playing NASCAR video games. Yesterday when I recorded 500-mile race at Texas on NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. Like I said, race took over 2.5 hours. Then I live streamed the full Dover race on the NASCAR Heat 5 career mode. You guys had already seen that. Now I did DNF before the end of it. I had about 120 or so laps to go in that race on a DNF, but then we did an online lobby for like 2.5 hours last night. So I stayed up a little later than what I wanted to on a work night, meaning I was going to have to work the next day. So I worked today. I've been up since like 5 o'clock in the morning. It is a quarter after 10 Eastern Standard Time. I'm running my second race of today because I live streamed at about 6:30, and now recording this as well right now. But I know I'm going to have some relaxation next week, and I'll be getting plenty of sleep and stuff, so I'm not too worried about it. That once I work tomorrow, I'm off Sunday, Monday anyway too, so I just got to get through the workday tomorrow. Really, felt great today though at work. Didn't feel tired at all. Hopefully, it's like that tomorrow too. I had to guess Harvick's probably going to pit at about lap 118. It is lap 115 currently. It's across the start-finish line. Got a 5-second lead on Kyle Busch, who I don't believe has pit yet. Assuming Kyle Busch is still in second. So there's the fuel tank almost empty. Symbol we got flashing on our back bumper right now. So we get to lap 116. So once that shines, we usually have a couple more laps of fuel left. At least with the mile and a halves. Short tracks usually have a little bit longer than that. The bigger tracks usually only got like 1 or 2 more laps of fuel. Just depends on the size of the racetrack, what the speeds are, how much are you saving in draft if it is a bigger track. But yes, Harvick planning for lap 118. So it'll be a 59 lap run and then another 59 lap run. And the final stop he can make really at his choice. So only have to run a little over 20 laps and it'll be within the fuel window. So the slid the tires quite a bit getting into turn 3 that time. So Kyle Busch getting pit instead of 3 laps before him, about 4 or 5 laps before Harvick by the time Harvick brings himself down this time by. We are now at lap 118. Oh, jeez. What I wanted to do. Off turn 4. Harvick trying to get as much time as he can. Slid the tires a little bit, making his way down. No speeding penalty, and he carried a lot of speed doing so, which he wanted to because he lost a lot of time off turn 2 on that final lap before making his way in. So 4 fresh tires, full tank of fuel, second pit stop of the race. J.J. Yeley will cycle back to the lead. He stayed out the longest under the first stops as well. He had gone 61 laps, a little mistake on the pit stop already for the fuel man. Couldn't get the nozzle in the injector. So that first stop of the day was 14.8. Second stop a lot slower, 16.6 after that mishap on pit road. So how much time is that going to gain for Kyle Busch? I don't think that's Kyle. The good news is Harvick had a 5-second lead, and now we have a caution for the first time today in the middle of green flag pit stops, and J.J. Yeley, who stayed out as long as he could, is going to be the big benefactor in this one. Billy Parker has spun, I believe, in turns 1 and 2. Into the outside wall, got hit hard from behind by Casey Atwood, who was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. So our first caution of the day. I would imagine Yaley's bringing his car to pit road. There might have been somebody else who did not pit there as well. Harvick will restart from the lead. That 5-second gap he had on Kyle Busch is gone. And now all those lap cars will line up to the inside of the lead lap cars. Green flag back in the air at lap 124 at Kansas. The launch on the restart for these drivers On fresher tires, Harvick pulls down in front of the 27 of Sauter. Now he lets him go to go back high in the middle of the corner to try and block Busch. They are 3 wide as Harvick makes a little bit of a mistake. He's stuck in the wall getting into 3. And J.J. Yaley's going to get to the lead. Oh, they stacked up off turn 4 and almost crashed back there. Harvick back to second as he passes Busch into turn 1. Not sure where Yaley was running before all these pit stops, but he's leading now. And he is trying to block Harvick, and he about turned him. And Busch gets to the outside. They're 3 wide for the lead, and now they're wrecking. They're wrecking in turn 3, all the way down the racetrack. Oh, no. Damage on the 21, the 5. Yaley threw a block down the backstretch on Harvick. He was not clear. And now damage to the 21, about 4.3 seconds worth of damage. Busch almost got by on the outside, but he ran out of real estate after that block. The 18 threw on the 21, and cautions are breeding cautions here at Kansas. At the entire over first half of the race without a yellow, now we've had 2 back-to-back. And now Harvick's going to have to restart in 9th. Kyle Busch will restart from the lead, but again, we have a ton of cars. Lap down, lead lap. Cars chasing each other up the racetrack already as well. Definitely getting pretty narrow off into turn 3. Harvick down to the inside. They are 3 wide. Still 3 wide into the trioval. Oh, they stacked up back there again. Somebody almost got turned into turn 1, it looked like. Kyle Busch all the way up high. Barely cleared whoever he was battling with. Yaley going to pull low to the bottom. Not going to block Harvick that time. They're still 3 by 3. Off of turn number 4. I believe that's Greg Biffle who now leads this race. It is the 60th Biffle. Harvick going to get to his inside for the lead. With 70 laps to go, Harvick is clear off of turn 2 and leads at Kansas. How did Greg Biffle get up to the front? Biffle going to charge in hard on the outside. Yaley down low on the bottom, though, going to try to get second on his own. Biffle in the wall off turn 4. Yaley's going to clear him for second. That 18 car has really turned it on here late. He caused that accident, the last one, but outside of that, though, he's still got a chance to win this one. You never know. How much damage does the 21 have? He tried to repair as much of it as he could under that last stop. And remember, it's still a 1 pit stop race to the finish as well. Greg Biffle trying to get a run. There's only 9 cars on the lead lap after that first caution. Oh man, Yaley with a big slide job to get back to second on Biffle off of turn 2. Really shut the door on him. Biffle going to cross him over into 3 on the inside. We know Kyle Busch has a fast car. How much damage does he have now as well? But he is in 4th. Problem is, with Biffle and Yaley side by side in front of him, he's got nowhere to go, really. Biffle going to pull high and block into turn 1. Yaley gonna try to cross Biffle over now, and he gets down to the inside. Kyle Busch, meanwhile, up to third. He gets around Biffle through 1 and 2. Now he's all over the back bumper of Yaley. He'll look low into 3 for second. Yaley shuts the door. Harvick trying to get away. He's going to go to the apron through the tri-oval. He gets super loose. Kind of like he did earlier, and that's how Busch got to the lead. Yaley's going to get to the outside. Will he clear into turn 1? No, he will not. Harvick kind of slid up the track, trying to side draft Yaley. Pulled him back. Harvick holds on to the lead barely that time. I don't think he's going to try to go to the apron anymore. He can't afford it. Almost costed him the lead there. Yaley swung and missed on the outside, so Busch is going to get the second. And now Busch is in the wall off turn 4. And that's going to stack up Biffle and the rest of the cars behind, giving Yaley second place again, who has a big run off Harvick. Into turn 1, it's J.J. Yaley going for the lead. Side by side, dead even into 3. Harvick trying to pinch the 18 down. Wow, very close that time. Harvick got the pole to lead the lap. Yaley's already got bonus points, and Harvick's already locked up the most laps led, so I guess the lap led there doesn't really matter much. It's getting aggressive. Will these guys hang on? Yaley able to side draft down the straightaways. Harvick trying to side draft in the corners. And they have been side by side for about 2 full laps. Harvick slides up the track a little bit. Yaley going to try to clear. And again, he wasn't clear, just like earlier. And that stacked him up big time through the tri-oval. Busch gets into the back of the 21. Harvick's down to the grass. He pulls back up on the track in front of the 25. And up and over goes Harvick. Harvick and Hamilton are up and over in turns 1 and 2. A big crash. And Busch involved in getting as well. The top 3 in points are all up and over. Well, Busch stayed on his tires, I guess. Everybody's going to be coming into the pits now. Heavy damage again on the 21 of Harvick. Our third caution of the day. And one of the worst crashes we've seen this season. Look at the damage on the 21. Some drivers stayed out, some pit. The window might be open to the end. Harvick's going to be the one to restart out in the front. He didn't take fuel or tires there. Green flag back in the air, and he is slow on this restart. With the damage, it's not surprising. Looks like he spun the tires a little bit too. Yaley going to get to the outside, and he's going to get to the lead. Harvick's going to be put 3 wide middle, getting into turn 3. This is going to get dicey. Already has been lately. Harvick got a run. Hamilton with a block. Oh, man, and he was not clear there. That stacks up Hamilton and Biffle on the high side. Yaley is the leader. Harvick with severe damage trying to get back to the lead, to the inside into turn 3. And he is going to will this race car back to the front. Unbelievable. Yaley has pulled 2 bad blocks, and now he turns Harvick. Oh, hard hit from the 20 of Mike Bliss as well. We stayed green somehow that time, and what is J.J. Yaley doing now? He stacked up again off 2. Yaley has blocked Harvick, which caused 2 accidents for the 21. That time he got into him in the center of the tri-oval and about turned him. Harvick still in second. He's about 4 seconds off the race lead. Really, really heavy damage, and this car is just not handling the same either. And Yaley just, for whatever reason, 2 bad blocks on Harvick, and then he just turned him basically. Harvick saved it about as much as he could in the tri-oval. Mike Bliss kind of straightened him back out. This race has really turned up on its side right now for Harvick. He just tries to survive to the finish with heavy damage to the rear of his race car. He has not DNF'd at all this season. Remember, Ron Hornaday blew an engine again earlier in this race. It seemed like the dagger was put in him for the championship, knowing there are only 6 races left after the checkered flag flies today at Kansas, but there may still be a chance if Harvick DNFs as well. We'll contact the lap cars up ahead. Feeder one out to the inside of Atwood. Hard to close in on Yaley, but he may be pitting here just to play it safe because of how much damage he's got on his race car. Which, in my opinion, would probably be the wise move, knowing how Yaley has raced him so far. Somebody's bottoming out up here. Maybe they've got damage from one of these recent accidents. I don't think it's any damage like what the 21 car of Harvick's got. Dwayne Borland not cutting him any slack in turns 3 and 4 either. Like 152 back to the start-finish line. Less than 50 laps to go. Harvick will pit this time. Fuel tires, but most importantly to repair damage. Because he wants to make sure he's going to make it to the finish. Trying to gain as much time as he can before sending it off into the pits. Third and final stop for tires for Kevin Harvick. And try to repair as much of that damage as he possibly can. Remember, they made a mistake on their second pit stop of the race as the fuel man. Didn't cost him the lead. Well, I guess it kind of did because that caution came out when Yaley was leading. And boy, I mean, Yaley even staying out to get this kind of track position. It's just insane. 18 plus second pit stop. Harvick is now 1 lap down. Sealed a little bit of that race car back up again. I don't know how much of it, though. It's going to fall back to 25th in the running order. We'll see if we'll stay green to the end. JJ Yaley has to be in prime position to win this race. They're 3x3 at the back of the pack up here. Well, we know even if Harvick finishes the lap down, he can get as high as 10th. I believe. 3 wide again. Off the exit of turn 2, there's a little bit of contact. 152 car got squeezed into the wall and somehow got in front of those guys. Harvick coming through here on fresher tires as well. 3 wide in the tri-oval. Oh, they're stacking up again back there. Sounded like it at least. Sounded like there could have been a little bit more contact. Harvick sends 3 wide into the next corner. Making some more passes. Only one of those passes, though, around all those race cars were actually for position. Well, Kyle Busch is still inside the top 5. He's 3rd in points. Harvick's lucky to flip and still be in this race, though. I think if Harvick gets an opportunity, he's just gonna. No, as badly as he wants to turn JJ Yaley and cost him a shot to win this race. Oh man, almost had an accident off turn 4 again. Contact, couple cars got squeezed into the wall. 3x3 entering into turn 1. Contact with the 131 car. Oh, Harvick can't get off of him. He's got to be careful. And even the slightest bit of contact at this point might cost him. Last time Yaley was in position to win, it was at Michigan. Fell from 1st to 3rd on the last lap. Dale Jr. had the last lap pass for the win, and Kevin Harvick ended up finishing 2nd that race. Only other race Harvick finished a lap down this season was in that very first race of the year at Daytona. He was willing to lose a lap. Came in with a 420-point lead. He's going to lose a little bit of it today, but thankfully he's at least going to get to the finish of this race. Because, boy, that got real ugly real quick. He's still got one set of tires left if we do end up getting a caution. And he could end up pitting. I wonder with these fresher tires, I know he's got damage, but 15 or so lap fresher tires, maybe even 20 lap fresher tires, can he actually get up there and unlap himself and then get a yellow, knowing there are only, I guess, 8 cars on the lead lap now. Oh, we got into the left rear Castleberry. He's got to be careful. He can't really afford to make much more damage if he's going to want to nurse his car to the finish. Well, we're going to take a short break once again. We'll come back for the finish of the... And now all of a sudden, Kyle Busch is the race leader. That might be another position for Kevin Harvick as well. I don't know what happened, but Kyle Busch is now the leader. With 14 laps to go. And yeah, Harvick is now shown in 6th. JJ Haley might have blown an engine from the lead. I didn't see him up in smoke anywhere, but he is not on the racetrack anymore. Did he get parked by NASCAR for causing a couple accidents? He caused the last 2 cautions. The reason why we have damage. Bad blocks on us twice, and then he about turned us the 3rd time. Maybe he made contact with Billy Parker, trying to put him a lap down or something, and then they just parked him. Well, Harvick is in 6th now. About 20 lap fresher tires, but he's about 28 seconds off the lead. And he's a ways behind the 5th place car as well to even get another position. But just a rally from a lap down to not only get back on the lead lap, but get this car in the top 10 up to 6th. I mean, he may lose points, but remember, he led the most laps before all this carnage happened as well. So he's got 10 bonus points on the day. Even if Kyle Busch goes on to win and regains 2nd in points over Bobby Hamilton Jr. or something, I'll tell you what. Kevin Harvick salvaged what could have been a terrible day. He was as far back as 25th with less than 40 to go. And I know a 420-point lead's big, and he had points to give up, but it doesn't mean you want to give them up. You still got another road course race, a long one at that, at Old Spice Speedway. Anything could happen there, and you just don't know what could happen in any of the other races. I don't think we were expecting Kansas to be this wild in the middle of the race like it was. Or as calm of a start as we had, as we went about 117 laps caution-free to start the race, and we had 3 back-to-back-to-back. I guess karma ended up biting Yaley, one way or another. Nothing but clean air in front of Harvick as well. 9 laps left for Kyle Busch. That's what they do if we get a caution. There's going to be no lap cars in the way either on the restart. It's going to be all single file cars. Don't forget, Harvick still has 1 set of tires left. If he decides to pit. Now, if we get really late in this race, it might be dangerous to pit because if the race ends under yellow, we're going to lose more spots. Came so far just to get back up to 6th. What we've endured so far in this one, I hope we get a caution. That would just be insane. I mean, we do have about 20 lap fresher tires as it is. Even with the damage, at least the tires are still important on this freshly paved track. And I mean, that's the other thing too. If we were at almost any other track with this much damage, we probably would not have that much grip. But trust me, it's sliding around a little bit. I've gotten used to it now that I'm able to kind of drive through it. I know how much to back the corners up to keep it from sliding too much. But man, oh man. And now the countdown's on for Kyle Busch to try and get his second win of the season. Well, yeah, we already have 5 to go. Kyle Busch already crossed the start-finish line. Now there's 5 to go for Harvick. Four laps left now for Kyle Busch. Guess Harvick's going to catch a little bit more traffic before the end of the race. I will not believe that one of these, or I should say, do not believe that one of these drivers are going to be on the lead lap in 4th position. But if they are, and Harvick gets the top 5, my goodness. They're almost 3 by 3 way up there, and even if they are a lap down, they're all battling for position right now. And no cautions come out on the final lap. Red front's starting to wear out a little bit more on the 21 of Harvick. They're all scattered down the backstretch into turn 3. Harvick's just hoping they all make it. Lap and a half to go for Kyle Busch, the race leader. Oh, with contact off turn 4 up there. They're checking up just a tad. Harvick just wants to make it to the end. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go for Kyle Busch. Harvick hoping one of these drivers are for position. I don't believe any of them are. But as quickly as he could have gotten through that giant group of cars, though. Still got 1 more lap for himself. About 23 seconds off the lead from Kyle Busch, who still has the lead off of turn 4. Checkered flag in the air. Second win of the season for Kyle Busch. First one since very early in the season. As he survived the day, he had one of the top 2 cars. He was involved in both the same accidents Kevin Harvick was involved, but Harvick going on his lid during one of them. Because it looked like there might have been a crash going into turn 1 with the group behind us because they really spaced apart. There was some smoke back there. Well, again, no cautions come out on the final lap. Only 7 cars are going to finish on the lead lap in this race. And Kyle Busch will be the first of those getting his second win of the year, about 2.6 seconds ahead of second place Bobby Hamilton Jr. Busch led just 23 laps on the day. 21 lead changes, 3 cautions for incident, and 2 hours almost exact on the race length. Again, Bobby Hamilton Jr. second. He did not lead any laps, though. Greg Biffle led a couple, finishing third. Kenny Walls with a good top 5, finishing fourth. And David Green finishes in the top 5 as well. Kevin Harvick, who led the most laps with 125 laps led, finishes 6th after starting on the pole. Billy Parker, 7th. Ashton Lewis, first car lap down, finishes 8th. Jeff Burton, 9th. And Johnny Sauter rounds out the top 10. And we know Ron Hornaday blew an engine earlier in the race. J.J. Yaley blew an engine while leading with just 15 laps to go. He led 50 laps in this race. He wrecked the field twice, but wrecked at least a couple of the contenders, one of which still went on to win because J.J. Yaley blew an engine. But I guess karma bit Yaley. We didn't have to bite him ourselves. David Stremme, J.J. Yaley, Hermie Sadler, Manny Brown, Nick Richardson, Ron Hornaday, Trey Murray, Donnie Hart, Terry Cook, Ray Westbury, and Jason Keller all DNF'd. 11 DNFs today. Look at all the engine failures, too. Because our first caution wasn't until lap 117 or 118. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I think Hermie Sadler might have caused that caution, or was taken out of the race, being one of the drivers involved in that accident at lap 118. So you had 7 drivers blowing engine even before the first caution. And he had a couple late in the race blowing engine as well. David Stremme, and then again J.J. Yaley blew an engine as well. We'll take a look at the updated point standings before we get on out of here for the night. My goodness. Well, by the time this uploads, be sure to tune in for the live commentary that I will have of, I guess by the time this uploads, again, tonight's NASCAR Cup Series race at Richmond, the playoff race. I'll be doing live commentary. We'll have live leaderboard on the channel. Race is on NBCSN, so if you can't watch it, come and, I guess, watch it through my eyes, I guess. Lowe's Motor Speedway, next race on the season for the Little Trees 300. I need to get to bed here pretty soon. It's just past 11 o'clock. I'm going to be going into work on less than 6 hours of sleep for the second straight day, so I'm doing it for you guys. I don't do it often, so I guess I can get away with it every now and then. Yeah, only lost 10 points to Bobby Hamilton Jr. because Bobby Hamilton didn't lead any laps, although he finished second. We finished sixth. He beat us by 4 spots, but we had 10 bonus points. He had 0 bonus points, so he only beat us by 10. What a salvage. What a salvageable day coming back to finish sixth and leading the most laps. Great job. Kyle Busch still third. Hornaday, after blowing that engine, he is basically out of the championship hopes. He had a glimmer of hope after he DNF'd, but unfortunately Harvick didn't really capitalize on it. David Stremme actually could have been fourth in points after today, but he blew an engine late in the race too. And I believe he was on the lead lap on that last restart as well. So tough break for Stremme. Now Kenny Wallace has a shot at a top 5 points finish. All right, so that's going to wrap it up here tonight. Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. I'll actually legitimately see you guys in another hour. I'm probably in the chat right now, but thanks everybody for watching, and I'll catch you next time.